Hi, welcome to Shortz on Sports. I'm your host, Beckett K, and I'm here with 9-time Coach of the Year and the former women's UWGB basketball coach, Mr. Kevin Borseth.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, what should I call you? Like Coach Kevin Borseth? Kevin Borseth?
You can call me Coach. You can call me Kevin.
Coach.
Anything but late for supper, right?
Late for supper. No, all right, Coach. Now, Coach, starting out, we're going to talk about your early life. We knew that you grew up in Bessemer, Michigan. Some people call it Bessemer. But growing up in high school, what did you want to be?
Well, I've always been a sweatshirt, tennis shoe type of person. I've always been involved in sports my whole life. So I don't know. I think I probably want to be a professional athlete, like most young, inspiring athletes want to be. But that was probably, if you looked at my dream sheet when I was in 3rd and 4th grade, be a professional athlete. That was a big thing, but this is as close as I can get to it, coaching professionally.
Next, moving on to the next question, who were your mentors growing up?
People I looked up to, I followed a lot of coaches in my career, people that I idolized in the coaching field. Jim Daniels was someone that was from town Wakefield, which was next door. Bruce Warren was a coach at Trout Creek, Michigan. A little more closer to home, Patrick Gallina was a football coach that I worked with, was someone that I probably followed most of my coaching strategies after. I guess those people were pretty important, not to mention my parents, obviously. My parents are probably the most influential people in my life.
All right. Great answer. Now, let's move on to the next one. What sports did you play in high school, if any?
I played the whole gamut.
All of them?
Everything. I played everything, yep. As my senior year, actually, I played baseball in the summer, football in the fall, basketball in the winter, ran track, and played tennis at the same time.
Oh.
Anything that had a ball, anything that you could do, I jumped on board and did it. I was just really, whatever the sport of the season was, that's the ones that I jumped into. A lot different than nowadays, where if you want to be a baseball player, you got to start in December, and if you want to be a basketball player, you got to start in June. For me, as when basketball season started, I picked a basketball up. When football season was up, I picked up a football. When it was tennis season, I picked up a racket. Right then, I just didn't practice for any. I just jumped into every sport. I love sports.
So all the sports that you played, maybe does that explain late for supper?
Yeah, well, my mother would always say, if he's hungry, he'll come in. Two things my mother would say. Somebody would always call my mother and say, for one, do you realize your son's running outside in the wintertime without a shirt on? And then the second one was, is he going to come and eat? My mother would always say, yeah, he's fine, and when he's hungry, he'll come in.
All right. When you went to college, you got a degree in business administration, right?
Yes.
So at that time, were you interested in doing business stuff, or did you just pick that?
I think when I grew up, going to college was just a thing, and everybody did it, and I did it by default. Probably, I had an old girlfriend that told me I should be a coach. And I probably should have got into being PE teaching, because anything with a ball, kick a ball, chase something. That's probably what I should have got into, and my son is actually in that. Good for him, because anything that revolves around the ball is a lot of fun. And I went into business, I guess kind of by default. Wound up doing that for a short time in my career, but certainly wasn't my MO at the end of the day.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to move on to your career and what you did for work life. Starting out, I heard that you were like a gym coach at a prison.
That's pretty accurate. Yes, it was. I was a junior. I got employed in 1982 at UWGB Community College in Ironwood, Michigan, and part of my assignment was to run the gym at a minimum security prison that was about 20 minutes away. And I taught actually checkbook math, and I also ran the gym. These were all minimum security prisons. They were not hardened criminals. Matter of fact, there wasn't even a fence around the prison. The bear kept those guys right close to home. They weren't going anywhere. But at any rate, I learned a lot there. I really did. I learned what the importance of allowing I always have a term, let the animals run the zoo, and I don't mean that in that sense, but if you cooperate with the people that are in charge, and in my case, the inmates were kind of in charge because they were in the gym, that I got a lot more out of them if that was the case. But I actually ran the gym, handed out weight pins, handed out tennis shoes, organized basketball games at the prison, brought in teams to play against these guys, imposed some rules on them that they didn't like. I made them play a full court game of basketball. I'm one that really believes if a game's to be played, it's to be played right, and I tried to get them to play it right, so it was kind of an interesting part of my career. But I spent 5 years in that prison. It taught me a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Not in prison, but monitoring the
Gotta
gym
make that clear.
at the prison, and they taught me a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever meet somebody that was like almost like a gym coach at a minimum security prison and that organized like full court basketball games. That is like crazy. Crazy.
Orange issued tennis shoes. That's what they had.
Crazy. Crazy. All right. Now after you went to GWGB.
A lot of people have a tough time with that one.
Yeah. UWGB Community College. Then you went to Michigan Tech to coach basketball for 10, 11 years? Because it was from 1987 to 1998?
Yep.
All right, so you got first a couple times at Michigan Tech. So you got first, you got like fourth, second, third, fourth. How did it feel to be at Michigan Tech?
Well, I just, to be honest with you, the job that I was in, because I started in business going back, went bankrupt. And I was kind of left on the unemployment line. And that's when I started my junior college gig, and I was part-time, and then Michigan Tech's job opened up. And that was the first real full-time coaching job that I had. And part of my coaching gig was I had to teach fishing and golfing. It was That's what I had to do.
And I know that you love fishing.
Basketball, fishing, and golfing I had to teach. I told the guy, when he told me how much money I was going to make, I told him, you're paying me way too much money for that. Because it was a pretty, it was a pretty, no, he didn't change it, no, he was fine. But at any rate, I liked Michigan Tech. It was fun. I never ever thought I would move on from there because I was getting to do something that I really loved. I was close enough to home. And I never thought I would ever leave there, to be honest with you. We actually made it to the Final Four in 1992, top 4 teams in the country, which is probably the best year that we had, and we did it with quite a few players from right around this area. A lot of Wisconsin area kids played on that team.
From an unemployed person to getting a job at Michigan Tech, going to the Final Four in the country, that is crazy. Call that like comeback. Like you were unemployed and then went to that. That's insane. Good for you. Next, moving on. Then, as you said, you did not think that you were going to leave Michigan Tech. Then you went to GB. So how did you leave Michigan Tech? Did they fire you, which I bet they wouldn't do? Did you leave? Did they give you an offer that you couldn't refuse? What happened?
Well, the job opened up, and I don't think I was their first choice. I think they had 2 other people that were actually, they wanted in front of me, 2 gal coaches, and neither one of them wanted the job. And I applied for the job, and I came down and had a hamburger with the athletic director, a hamburger and a beer, actually, and he offered me the job. And I never really thought I would leave the UP, but I said if I ever do, I'm going to go to a place where the freeway ends and the country begins, and that's kind of Green Bay.
Wow. So. And then after that, you went to Michigan, one of the biggest schools in the country for kind of basketball. They're the 5 seed, I think, in March Madness, maybe 4. Yeah, 5. And then back then, they were still a super good team. They have good sports there. When you went to Michigan, you went from UWGB, still a bit kind of a big school, to this big school that is known for its sports. How was that different from all the other smaller colleges that you coached at?
How much tape do you got here? Because that's a long conversation, my friend. It really is. That is, I always wanted an opportunity to coach in the Big Ten. And be careful what you dream for, but I actually got my dream job at University of Michigan. Notre Dame was the other place I would have liked to gone to. Those were the two initially spots that I would have liked. Ironically, Wisconsin turned into the place that I wanted to go, mainly because I was around here, but I wound up at Michigan. And it was a very, it's an all-in type of coaching job.
Yeah,
those big jobs, those big universities, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
And we spent a lot of time. We inherited a program that had won 3 Big Ten games in 3 years. And in our first year, we finished 9-9 in the Big Ten. And the last year that I was there, we made it to the NCAA tournament, which they hadn't seen in quite a few years. So we got the program on the right track. And to this day, the coach that took over for me is still there. So I think we built a good foundation for her when she came in the door. And fortunately, she's still there coaching. But it's a big job. Very, very, not many people get a chance to get to the height of the profession. At that time, the height of the profession was coaching in the Big Ten, so I was pretty lucky.
Yeah. So did Notre Dame offer you a job or?
No, that was one of the jobs. And I used to like Notre Dame football back in the day. That's probably why. Notre Dame and Michigan were the two schools that I always were intrigued by because they were the ones that were always on TV.
Yeah, and
Notre Dame football was on TV, Michigan basketball was on TV. So those are the two that I associated with because those are the ones I saw on TV. But
yeah.
I've always been a Michigan fan, so.
Our family's wrapped around Notre Dame. We all love Notre Dame, so.
There you go.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
So, and then Michigan, what you said before about you're going to a college that expects a lot, 'cause they're one of the biggest colleges in the country. And how would you feel getting that job? 'Cause they picked you, Kevin Borseth, to take that job and try to lead one of the biggest basketball schools in the country to win. How did that feel?
That's amazing. You're right. I was picked out of that, and not many coaches get an opportunity to reach that plateau. So I was very privileged to be able to do that. Granted, we worked our way to get there. We worked hard to get there, but I think I was fortunate to be around a lot of really good players in my past that helped me get there on that path, and a lot of good coaches that I work with. We had a lot of successful programs. So, I wound up there, and it's something that I obviously am proud of. But you got to be careful because pride is you got to be careful what you're proud of, But I was very excited to be there, obviously, and something I'll always remember.
Nice. So, moving on to the next question. Then after that, you moved to GB once again. So how'd that happen? Did what I said before, did they offer you it? Did you ask to come there? What happened with that?
I was 5 years at Michigan, and I got a new boss 4 years into it. And I don't know that the two of us were on the same page. And the magnitude of the job got very heavy. I had my family, and I spent more time with my job than I spent with my family, and a lot of that yanked at my heartstrings. Green Bay's job opened back up again. Fortunately, the athletic director was still there that was there when I left, and when that job opened up, I made a phone call. And so I got a chance to come back to Green Bay, and that was great for me because family, I got more time with my family. My parents were from the UP, so I was closer to them. So it's a better fit, Green Bay, all around for my lifestyle, my comfort level. So I wound up back here at Green Bay, and very thankful to have that opportunity and grateful.
Nice. So now I'm going to talk to the kids. Remember, you guys, I think I've said this before in one of my first interviews. Family first, no matter what, always family first, because there's your number one person to call if you're in an emergency besides 911. Everything, family first. Just Borseth, Kevin, coach, did the right decision with that. Family first. Now, to end off about your coaching career, I think you set a record, not a record, but in coaching, or maybe for GB, you had like a record. Your wins for like all of coaching, your record was 861 and 316. So you won 161, lost 316. So you were like, I think like that's like the 8th most wins by like a coach all like time for that, like the NCAA. How was that an impact, and how did that make you feel like inside, being like, I'm one of the most winningest coaches ever?
Well, I don't know. I just, when you're involved in coaching, I think you're always chasing your next game, because the most important day is the day you live in, obviously. Live for today, make sure that day is really good, and then you're always trying to prepare yourself for tomorrow. So I don't know that I ever look back and gloated about my past, because that was yesterday. I had an old boss that told me, don't tell me what you've done, show me what you're going to do. And that was probably the best advice that I had ever gotten. So the fact that I was able to accumulate that many wins didn't register until I was done. There's an old song written by Kenny Rogers that says there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. And I've always gone along with that. And fortunately for me, I was able to accumulate quite a few wins over the course of time, and something I'm obviously proud of doing. But I had a lot of people that helped in that process, players and coaches, and I think a lot of my passion played into that. I really liked to be around sports. I understood players. I was a very nervous as a young kid, and I had young coaches that helped me out a lot. So when I got to be a coach, I was very trying to help the players as much as I could, because helping them is just teach basketball skills, but there's a lot more to coaching than just what you see on the basketball floor. Everybody's got some problems, everybody's got some strengths and weaknesses, and you got to learn to how to balance that and help everybody to be as good as they can possibly be. So that was really where my focus was the entire while. And fortunately, on top of that, we were able to get a lot of wins too. It was pretty cool.
Nice. So now we've kind of wrapped up your coaching career, and for all that, you got into the UP Upper Peninsula, is what it stands for. The UP Sports Hall of Fame in 2004, which is a great accomplishment. And 2 years before that, I've the 2002 one. I know I told you this before. This one right in the corner was my great-grandpa, and he got it in basketball. But back to how you got it in the UP Sports Hall of Fame, did you feel like honored in that moment?
Well, I'm a Youper, and anybody that grows up in the UP is a Youper. And if you're getting mentioned in the top of the heap there in the UP and the UP Hall of Fame, that was absolutely one of my shining moments. Not something I ever set out to do, something that just kind of happened after the course of time, but certainly a great honor, and one I still cherish and relish to this day.
It's a great accomplishment. And the fact that you weren't even I wouldn't say trying, but the fact that you weren't even thinking about it, that just shows how humble you are, which is a great thing. You got to be humble in life. So now we know in this past season, not this season, but the season before, you retired from GB, but I saw you at some of the games after you were retired. Now, how does it feel to leave the girls and then come back and watch them?
Ooh, that was hard. Yeah, it was. Luckily for me, the current coach, Kayla, allowed me to stay engaged a little bit, so I was able to go to some practices and sit in on some meetings. And as you mentioned, 7 of those girls were seniors, and I'd coached them for 5-6 years, so I knew them very well, obviously, so I had a lot invested. And not being there with them was a little difficult. But again, fortunately, Kayla allowed me to stay around there. I'm not as good a fan as I am a coach. I had a tough time sitting still watching. Sometimes I had to go out in the hallway, and sometimes when they were on the road, I had a tough time even watching the game because I just don't have any control over it. I'm kind of a control guy. I like to have a control over things, and I didn't have any. But it was it was a good segue into retirement for me.
Yeah, about like the control thing. I know, like since it's even harder when like you used to be a coach yourself for the exact same team. Like you just want to scream like, defense, get on number 5 or whatever.
You're right. Now I had to yell with the crowd.
Yeah,
Defense, defense,
but-
defense.
Yeah, sometimes it still helps sometimes, but
Oh, you bet.
and then they have a street on campus named Kevin Borseth Way. Did you ask for that? Did they do it? Did they do it on surprise?
That came as a complete surprise. And I want to tell you that my Uper friends back north laughed at that one. They thought that was pretty funny. But
Yeah.
no, my wildest dreams, not something I ever thought would happen, obviously. But at the end of the day, it was pretty unique. Not many people have that. Seems to be a thing in Green Bay when they get players or coaches that have a level of success, whether it's Brett Favre or Mike Holmgren or Lombardi or Lambeau, whatever. There's a lot of streets named, Donald Driver.
And now Kevin Borseth.
And now I have one named after me, so that's really pretty cool.
Way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about some trivia, UWGB trivia. So there's 3 questions. I'll give you 60 seconds to answer them all.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the 97.9, because I can't remember.
Trivia. It's a trivia
But,
question.
like,
Anyway, here we go.
10 seconds, $10,000. All right. So, starting out. 3, 2, 1, go. Who is my favorite UWGB women's player?
Natalie McNeil.
No. I think they currently play.
That currently plays or does not?
Currently. I think it's their senior year.
Cassie Schultz.
Yes.
There you go.
Iowa jersey. Next. Who was the team that UWG was playing in my first ever game that I went to?
Oh, heavens to bet. When did you go to the game?
It was not this season, but the season before.
Season before, and was it early or late in the year?
Middle of the year.
Middle of the year, Milwaukee.
Yes!
There you
How
go.
did you get that? Where was I sitting? In the top, in the middle, or courtside?
Oh, you were sitting courtside.
Yes!
Absolutely. What do I get for this? Do I win a prize or what?
Yes, you
Candy
win a
apple
prize.
or something?
I'll get you something.
Pat on the back.
All right, you completed it in less than 60 seconds. Now, moving on to jokes.
Jokes.
We have a little fun part.
Okay.
Here. What do you call a fantasy show about basketball?
What do I what?
What do you call a fantasy show about basketball?
Fantasy show about basketball. Heavens to Betsy. I got 60 seconds for this one too, or what?
No. Too bad I'm tired.
What do you call a fantasy show about basketball?
Supernatural.
Pretty good. I like it.
All right, next one. What happened to the basketball player when they lost their sight?
What happened to the basketball player when they lost their sight? Somebody stole the ball from them.
They became a ref.
That's pretty good. There you go. That's a good one. Gotta remember that one. That's a great one.
Have any jokes for me?
Do I have a joke? Well, I have a educational question.
Sure.
Are you good in English?
Kind of.
Let's try it. How do you say this? Egg yolks is white or egg yolks are white?
Are white.
Egg yolks are yellow. I have another one too. How well can you add?
What?
Are you a good adder?
Yes, I love that.
You got to add as fast as you can.
Okay.
And then answer whatever I ask you, answer as fast as you can.
Okay.
Okay? What's 6 plus 9?
15.
9 plus 6.
15.
10 plus 5.
15.
5 plus 10.
5 plus 15.
11 plus 4.
15.
4 plus 11.
15.
Name a vegetable.
Vegetable. A cucumber.
It took too long to answer that. Most people say carrot. And
Is a cucumber a vegetable? I don't.
It is. Most people say carrot, but yeah. Anyway, those are my jokes. I'm not really a funny guy, but those are.
The first one was good.
You like the first one? You can pull that on your English teacher.
Okay, I am.
Yes, you can, and
Yes.
I'll bet she falls for it,
Yeah, probably.
or he falls for it. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right, now this is the second to last question. Do you have any advice for the kids out there in the community? It's okay if you don't. Just any advice. Talk to that camera.
Advice. I would say to chase what you like to do, whatever that is. Because at the end of the day, you'll circle back to that. For example, I was in sports. I wanted getting a business degree, and it wasn't for me losing my job and circling back to sports, I wouldn't be sitting where I am today. And it's something I always like. So if there's something you like, irregardless of what it is, chase that, because you'll be very good at it if you do.
Yeah, like you chased it and you became like.
And you'll be happy, and that's the most important part, is to be happy.
Yeah.
Be happy with what you do, be proud of what you do, and if you're happy and you like it, chances are you'll be very good at it.
Yeah, and then you chased yours, like you just told them. You did what you just told them and chased what you liked, and you became like one of the best coaches record-wise. So chase that, like what he said. Now, do you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything?
Do I have any questions? I don't really have any questions, other than I'm going to make an observation. I like your show.
Thank you.
And the fact you were able to do this whole show without having a little prompter there and ask all those questions, remember, is pretty remarkable, young man.
Yeah, normally I really I do research, but normally I just think of the questions as I do it. Like if I am stuck to a script, I don't like it because it almost makes me feel like I have to do that, and then I'm looking down oh, what's this? Like when I just do it without a script, I just think of what I'm gonna say in the moment. Yes, I have papers where I look about facts and I just remember them by just saying it 50 times.
Yeah.
So yes, that was Shortz on Sports with Kevin Borseth, and now for the ending.